differences we can withdraw out of it. But if I am talking about the prior session, we discussed about the GST scams, that how it is actually happened, how the people are just taking the wrong input tax credit, and how does these scams are different from the money laundering, earnings management, arm's length pricing mechanism. So this what was our previous discussion. So yeah, anything? Yeah, anything out of these topics? Anyone want to ask anything? Because this was all we have already discussed. So now I hope that everyone is just clear that how does the different practices, right, going to impact their bottom line earning or their potential to make such kind of a fraud or money laundering or overseas investments, arm's length pricing. So I think now the basic modus operandi of all these different financial term is clear to everyone. So anything anyone want to add in it? Yeah, no one. Yes, Chiranjit, I have one question for you. Just try to answer it. What do you understand by the term value stock? For example, you have to invest in coming LIC IPO. We all know that LIC IPO is why it is important, because in 2017 also LIC proposed that we will come, but later on they not come. In 2018 some same happened, 19 same happened, 2020 same happened. So it is the fifth time they have drafted the red herring prospectus. So they are hopefully to get the approval from the SEBI, and they will come up with the IPO in the March. So now you as an investor, how will look into the LIC IPO? We already discussed about the terms that how to value IPOs: overvalued stock, undervalued stock, growth stock, value stock. Yeah, what are your views on it?
So probably a value stock is a undervalued stock.
Value stock is undervalued stock, growth stock is overvalued stock.
Yes, sir.
How?
So because in a value stock, it is the valuation is the value of the stock is less than the financial performance of the company.
Malab, the current market price is not justified by the fundamental. You mean to
Yes,
say?
yes, sir.
Okay, so as an investor, how I will just view the same?
So probably there will be more chance for investment.
Okay, potential to grow or not. It was all the question which I currently discussed is all that we have already discussed in some prior sessions. So that's why I'm just making recall the thing.
Sir, I am the unfortunate
Yes,
Paytm
I you have
investor.
to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Sir, I am the unfortunate Paytm investor. I am still in that shock. But I am
Okay.
hoping that the LIC IPO will rescue me to a certain extent. Uh, I have my reasons, sir. Like when we compare it with, I mean, it's basic, like its market share in India, how strong the company is in terms of its numbers, and how, the kind of buzz around the stock. So, like, and I'm hopeful that I have listing benefits if we can get it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yes, Soumitra. Rahul. Yeah. Anywhere. Yes, Soumitra.
I
No,
think,
in
sir,
my
that
view,
LIC being the means the top means the topmost. I think in a PSU having giving the insurance. So I
This arrangement can be done by this company for this employee. That 5 lakh they will pay out of white money, and 2 lakh they will pay out of black money. It means they need not to be ended up with paying anything. There is no tax. But again, this company make him aware that you need not to disclose this money anywhere. Yeah, because they have not yet disclosed. Yeah. So this is one of the way through which we can just generalize. So let's see what happened next. For example, there is some large company. Okay, there's a big company, and I am the employee, and my salary is 1 crore rupees, for example, and this company's entire income is white money. I am just assuming it. So if he asks this person that you are paying me an annual salary of 1 crore and I have to pay 30 lakh as a tax, mean 30 lakh as the tax will go, and I just landed up with 7 lakh as the disposable income, 70 lakh. So he is asking him to just make this black money, but this company not agree. Why this company not agree? They are saying that if we disclose 30, that he asking that 30 lakh to be black money and 70 lakh as the white money. But this company not agree, because if they show 30 lakh as the black money, they cannot claim as an expense and save 90 lakh, 9 lakh as the tax benefit, right? If they will just pay everything from the white money only then they can just show it as an expense and but the point is this: now this employee, because by earning the 1 crore, he has to pay 30 lakh as the tax and 70 lakh he left with the disposable income, because this company is not agreeing to the arrangement of combination of 70 lakh out of white money and 30 lakh out of black money. So what he will do, if you look into the current scenario, his taxable income is 1 crore, right? So he will just pay 30 lakh as the tax and 70 lakh as the disposable income. But recently, one incident comes to that under some people do agree under the section 80 GGC. If you made any contribution to the political parties, you can just reduce your tax liability. How? For example, if my gross income is 1 crore, okay, in equity parties can be used that you also party just me and funds the 7 lakh as the as the donation to them. So I might taxable income is 13 lakh, and if I go to the slab rate 2 lakh, I assuming approximately my tax liability will come. Now, when company make me the payment of 1 crore, they already deduct 30% tax according to section 192. It means 30 lakh is already with the company, or sorry, with the government. When this company make me the payment of 1 crore, according to section 192, we all know that there is a TDS of 30%. So 30 lakh is already goes to the government. Now, under this arrangement, my new tax liability is 2 lakh. Now I will ask the government to refund me 28 lakh. But the point is this: in order to save 28 lakh as the tax, you have to forego 87 lakh as the donation. But it is not a good option, right? मतलब आपको 28 लाख सेव करने के लिए आप इतना बड़ा डोनेशन क्यों दोगे? Please help me to know till here everyone is along with me, because this is one of the
Yes,
recent cases
yes,
which one person is
Yes.
actually making a tax evasion. It is done by one of the employees, okay, and he just linking and joining hand with the political parties. So before continue with the same, anything anyone want to say?
So they may have some arrangements to get their money back. That's why he will
अब क्या होगा,
go to
पॉलिटिकल
this
पार्टीज के
87.
पास बहुत सारी ब्लैक मनी आती है,
yes,
तो पॉलिटिकल
because
पार्टी
ऑडिट भी
ऑलरेडी
नहीं होता पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज के फंडिंग का।
क्या होता है,
ऑडिट भी नहीं होता ऐसे पॉलिटिकल पार्टी के
या
फंडिंग
दैट दे ऑलरेडी हैविंग
का।
वो उसमें से क्या करेंगे, नाउ
Yes,
लुक एट द स्टोरी, कैसे दोनों को बेनिफिट होगा. नाउ व्हाट हैपन, इफ आई एम द एम्प्लॉय, ओके, I give 87 lakh to one of the political party in Punjab, for example during the election I gave in the last 1 month. Okay, I know that I have to file the return in the coming 31st, so I just gave 87 lakh. Now the question is this: I gave 87 lakh in order to reduce my tax by 28 lakh, right? It is not a good option, right? So what they political party is having so much money in the form of black money, they have so much, so they will pay me in cash 84 lakh or whatever the arrangement will be. So now what happened, my white money goes to the political party, because I have paid tax of 30 lakh, my company paid tax, they deduct the tax. Now they political party can use this money like anything, right? And I also just able to save my tax liability. So it will a win-win situation for both. So now who will be in, who will the trouble will come for which party? The company is very safe, because company pay 1 crore, they deduct 30%, so company not engage anything, so company is safe, right? Political party is also safe, because later on if investigation happen, the political party immediately deny, we don't know how much, how this money come. Obviously, why political party will just case me or handed over something, because they have so much sources of income. Many corporates will come and just give them the money, right? So later on, who will ended up me? How it will happen? For example, I did this practice for 20 years, the same practice which I explained you. For example, if I did this practice for 20 or 25 years, now I have a holding so much of black money. So later on, if I buy some assets after 2 3 years 4 years, for example, I buy one like SUV, okay, and they will say that you are just paying 2 lakh as the tax, you are showing this low income, taxable income is 13 lakh, out of which you are just paying 2 lakh as the tax, but you are just making the investment of big amounts. So it means that something comes from the hoarded black money. So this is how tax evasion case emerges, which comes to mean that tax evasion is done by the employees also. It is not always by the company, but employees are also engaged in the tax evasion practices. Yeah, your views on the same?
Sir, in this case, there is one more cash, sir. Actually, out of 1 crore, a company is giving only 70 lakhs. How is donating 87 lakhs? Means
No, that
17 lakhs.
no, no. This is no. Listen, because when we, oh, okay, I understand your question. Now listen, what I am saying. Your point is this: if I have the 70 lakh after deducting the tax, then how can I make the 87 lakh? Right? This is your question.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so answer is very clear. When you file the return, you always show the gross salary. When I file the income tax return, I show gross salary, income from house property, profit and gain from business and profession, other sources, capital gains. So I will deduct, show everything inclusive tax. After that, I will just make some rebate or whatever. But initially, I will record everything inclusive of tax only. So I am disclosing 1 lakh as the taxable income, gross salary. I show you just a minute. Uh, For example, if I have some accumulated previous year, so I will just gross total income I will show. So this 1 crore is not only from salary. It can be salary, it can be house property, it can be profit and gain from business and profession, it can be long-term capital gain, it can be short-term capital gain, it can be income from other sources. We all know these are the five heads, right? So all I am gross total income, right? After making the donation, I am writing is taxable income. Okay, so this is taxable income. This is gross total income, which come not from salary, but all these five heads. So out of this 1 crore, if I am showing 87 lakh, I am making it kind of showing on the books of account, then 13 lakh is the taxable income coming. So according to the different tax slab rates, my tax liability come 2 lakh. Already under section 192, the company paid 30 lakh for me, right? So 30 lakh is already paid. Now I have to pay 2 lakh. It means I have to just make the refund of 28 lakh. So whatever I am saying 87 lakh, it is not only accumulation from this, but it is a kind of a mixed arrangement. Yeah, is it making sense? So I am still exploring the same case, that how it is again so easy to happen. But during the political, because some if somebody is actually engaged in this activity, because they are just making during the election. So this is how. Um,
Sir, but sir, I think these would be very means very rarest of rare cases. I think only very few of the employees may be doing this because
yeah, very
as we
very
know that we are also employees, just doing the job is a big task. Then how the hell will go to
yeah.
political party and get my money back?
देखो
I
होता
think
क्या है, जब इनकम
people
टैक्स की
like
रेट
us
पड़ती
will.
है तो समटाइम एम्प्लॉइज के घर में भी रेट पड़ती
I
है,
think
राइट?
people, if people like us will do that, will lost our 87 lakhs to the political party, would not recover that back.
But 87 lakh, it is with a prior arrangement, because they are already having so much black money. So I just told you, just pay me 80 84 lakh or whatever the amount. They can just इससे benefit क्या होगा? What is the benefit? Benefit is only this, that they get the white money. Who? Political party, and I able to save the tax. But company is the most safest in which I am working, right? Political party is safe because they get my white money. Who will face any kind of repercussion later on? It's me only. Why? Because I am showing less tax, I am showing lesser income. Okay, I'm just showing 13 lakh as the taxable income. 1 crore minus 80 lakh, I am showing. अगर एक बंदे का taxable income 13 लाख है, वो 26 लाख और 50 लाख की गाड़ी कैसे ले सकता है? Just taking an example, right? So it will directly give that. But that's why it is known as the hoarding of the black money by the employees. The purpose of current discussion is only this, that don't, because it is already image set that tax evasion is only done by the company but not by the employees of that company. So this is how if the company is making me the money out of making me the salary out of white money only, but I don't happy to pay 30 lakh as the tax, then definitely I am looking for the alternative way. One of the alternative ways is which recent maybe other ways also, which you people explained, right? This how some LTC or whatever many of you have explained. But I was not aware about that. But currently, this is the thing which actually few people are actually found for this activity. So that makes me to just discuss with you that even the employees discuss employees also uh, do tax evasion practices. Yes, Amit.
सर
Yes,
लोगों ने
Amit, you
एनजीओ
was
खोल
not
रखे
there
हैं जगह
yesterday,
जगह पे ये
right?
काम
If
करने
I
के
am
लिए.
not wrong. Yes, Amit, you was not there yesterday.
No sir, I was not there yesterday. There was a marriage at my.
Okay, fine, fine. Yeah, please.
Sir, people have started opening up so many NGOs for this donation purpose. People have started making their wives like 3-4 लोगों की बीवियों का संगठन बना के एनजीओ रजिस्टर कर रहे हैं. सेक्शन 8 तो छोड़ो, सोसाइटी रजिस्टर कर रहे हैं. करके साला अपने आईटीआर के साथ एनजीओ का आईटीआर भरते रहते हैं और एनजीओ में कोई डोनेशन देने वाला नहीं है. 5-5 करोड़ का बैलेंस शीट होता है एनजीओ का.
So again, the point is, yeah, these are the alternative
There
ways.
are doing, there are people are doing, and they are doing it deliberately.
Any action misrepresentation, okay, accept misrepresentation. All frauds and irregularities are done deliberately only, right? But yeah, people do. They are looking for the alternatives to do because these are the actually things which come, which every person is doing nowadays. They are just doing it. Okay, if this can be the done because even you know that during the elections, every party needs money, so they have so much funding from different corporate because they know that if this person will win, it will help me later on in so many others. So this time today is the Punjab election, so I am very curious to know because this time the condition of Punjab is very unpredictable. Any likelihood is like of every all the three parties is equally, so let's see what will happen because in the last few months we have seen that how chaos is uh, in
बट
the
सर इस केस में ना इन ये जो कंपनीज है जो ये पैसा ले रही है और जो
uh,
ये पैसे को कन्वर्ट कर रही है,
uh,
दे आर वेरी मच कि सिर्फ अपने लोगों से ही लेना है. बिकॉज रिसेंटली 1-2 केसेस ऐसे भी हुए हैं जहाँ किसी टेररिस्ट का पैसा पार्क कर दिया गया है लाइक दिस. एंड दोस वो सीबीआई या एसटीएफ सूंघते सूंघते पहुंच जाएगी पैसे को ट्रैक करते करते, एंड द एंटायर थिंग इज इन जेल.
actually बहुत सारे cases हैं the which you explained is also good मतलब it is possible actually but nowadays even the sole businesses are doing so much kind of tax evasion and they just recover in the form of because they are just extracting the loopholes of the income tax act, right?
Actually, sir, मुझे इसका आइडिया नहीं था. Some days back, I got a call from somebody who was telling me that I will give you this much money in white. You have to return me this much in cash.
Yeah, why he says simple logic is अब यहाँ
वो
पे
तो
भी
सर
क्या
मुझे
हो रहा
पता नहीं था.
है
वो
अब
तो मीटिंग जाने के बाद I understood what he was trying to say.
अब देखो उसमें क्या हुआ अब मैं एक एम्प्लॉई हूँ और मैंने उसको चेक दिया पॉलिटिकल पार्टी को आई गिव द चेक ऑफ 87 लाख टू द पॉलिटिकल पार्टी बट पॉलिटिकल पार्टी रिटर्न मी 84 lakh in cash, so this is the same incident which you are saying, it is exactly the
Exactly.
same.
Some days back, actually, I faced this situation. I went there to understand what exactly he's saying. Then I could find out this is the case. And the
Yeah,
biggest problem is that I was unsure about the source from where he is paying. So it could be some bad money that is coming into the books of accounts and then go back. And
yeah.
since I am not an NGO, at any cost, government will kill me. Fine.
So that's why these are the very nowadays common practice. People will have to ended up with a less taxation. So entire course is
We should
about
be
this.
aware of these people, sir.
Yeah, but political parties का तो बहुत common है because in recently they need huge money. Okay, so they are just looking for they are happy to may convert your
सर
money.
मैंने उस बंदे को पार्टी ऑफिस ही भेज दिया उसके बाद.
Okay,
I told him
but
go to party office, Trinamool party office. Your work will be done.
तो ठीक है जाके थोड़ा देखते सीखते चाहे ना भी कुछ करते. So you maybe bring some more inputs for us. बिकॉज अगर
सर
जाते तो
वो
वहां पे
तो
देखते
डायरेक्ट ही
कैसे
वाज
होता है
रेडी टू गिव
बिकॉज
चेक
कंपनी
सर.
तो शेल कंपनी तो एग्जिस्ट भी नहीं कर रही उसका तो फर्जी एड्रेस दिया हुआ है वो कंपनी वहां पे तो है ही नहीं जब आप वहां पे जाके देखते तो माइंड
Oh,
पॉसिबल वहां
Samarjit
कंपनी ना
actually
होता.
gave me an example of this company. There's one house in Park Circus. He was telling us जिस घर को बैन कर रखा है that उस एड्रेस पे कोई और कंपनी बैंक अकाउंट्स कुछ नहीं खुलेगा.
हाँ.
Samarjit was telling me there's a house in Park Circus like that.
Okay, yeah, but it happens nowadays. Now it is very common thing. Only the thing that Indian government need to do that don't let pull the other opposition party. But at least they need to make stringent more regulation under the different, because India में multi regulatory system है. Right, even if you are making some changes in the Companies Act, it will impact RBI Act and Insurance Act, Banking Act, many other multiple मतलब multi regulatory system में ऐसे ही होता है. If you make some change you need it. वो यहाँ पे दिक्कत यही है, एक में तो चेंज कर देते हैं, उसका repercussion बाकी कहाँ पे आ रहा है, no one is bothered. So this is how a merging of the such kind of things comes into.
सर आपको क्या लगता है इंडिया में कभी भी पैरेलल इकोनॉमी खत्म होगा? मेरे को तो लगता है कि कैश जनरेशन बंद नहीं होगा, बट उसको मेन स्ट्रीम में लाना डिफिकल्ट से डिफिकल्ट हो जाएगा.
Yeah, sections are toward digitization. अब सिर्फ बड़े बड़े वर्ड बजट में बोलने से कुछ नहीं होगा, मतलब unless and until if the no work is at the ground level. But okay,
100% खत्म होना मुश्किल है सर, बिजनेस खत्म हो जाएगा. साइकिल रिपेयर दुकान वाला भी 4 लोगों का पेट चलाता है, उसको ब्लैक मनी व्हाइट मनी समझा के इतना समझा के कोई फायदा नहीं है. वो चाय वाला, वो तो हमारी कंट्री का साला वो हवाला के पैसों का एटीएम होता है.
तो एक्चुअली वही है ना, जो छोटे केसेस है उनके अंदर तो आईटी एक्ट जो हमारा
एग्जैक्टली सर, वो इतने छोटे लेवल पे आप कुछ कर भी नहीं
सकते इन इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग, बिकॉज बाद में जितना खर्चा आ जाएगा, फाइन्स, पेनल्टीज और कॉस्ट ड्यूरिंग इन्वेस्टिगेशन, दैट विल मोर देन देयर एक्चुअल फ्रॉड. So they are not interested in the small fraud, small amounts, right? So it is they are only looking for the person. That's why if the company is engaged into something activity, they definitely look into the employee sometimes. So raid can be on the employee's house also. So the purpose of only discussing that how does the tax evasion practices are by the employees also. It is not image is set like this only, that it is by the company. But now sole businesses is also there. Recently one person who is into the like a gym owner, okay, and he is also having one shop who is selling the supplementary, like supplementary for the gym, and he asked his father to sit on the, and he will just act as a manager. We all know that he is making the salary, right? So he can just save the tax also. He is giving full time to the gym because he is having no time, he can't escape from there, right? But he is also having the shop in the city selling the supplementary products. Okay, but if he hires some manager, he has to give the salary. So he asking his retired father to be sit as a manager and work for this, and you have to just sit only. So as in this, he ended up with the, we can say that save terms sometime, because father is not have to pay any, whatever the manager is getting the salary, now the father is getting. He not have to pay any income on it, and he is saving the tax. And after the income tax side, he can just transfer the same money as a gift to his son, right? And if he's sending anything through the gift to his son, it is tax exempted. But the problem here it is that usually कहाँ पे लोग फंसते हैं, they are just paying they did two wrong things. First, they just pay the salary more than an average manager salary. Second thing, they are just only showing as a manager, but actually he is not giving any time to the business. So ये भी एक incident है which is done by the simple people like you and me.
Sir, in case of political parties, is that not a very specialized case? Because it needs a tie-up with the political party treasury.
Yeah, that's why very few. Its magnitude is huge, but quantum is less. Frequencies are less, but magnitudes are always big. You are very right, Pratik. For example, the people is having the huge money, their income, they are having so much, we can say that emoluments along with their basic salary. So their sum of CTC is approximately 2 crore or 3 crore, right? So yeah, they have the connection with the political party and those two. If the person is having only the salary, which is very less, why he do? So only specialized people having the higher CTC or approximately 2-3 crore, they did the same. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else out of this?
सर सरकारी नौकर के लिए कोई जुगाड़ बताइए सर, टैक्स बचाने के लिए.
वो तो खुद ही सरकार चला रहे हैं.
मंदिर में डोनेट करो
भाई, हमें डोनेट कर दे सौमित्र.
सरकार नहीं बचाएगा तो कम से कम भगवान बचा लेगा.
Recently, I explained something related to that son and the father story. Everyone understood or not? This gym business and the supplementary shop.
Yes sir, yes sir.
अच्छा, टैक्स कैसे कम होगा? टैक्स कैसे सेव होगा इससे?
सर पहले तो उसका,
हाँ, अच्छा वो स्पेल शो करेगा. ओके, एंड हाउ डज द फादर इज गोइंग टू, बिकॉज फादर को अगर इनकम मिलेगा तो फादर को भी तो अपना आईटी रिटर्न फाइल करना पड़ेगा ना। अगर 7,000 सैलरी दे रहे हो तो उसको भी तो 5 लाख इनकम तो दिखाना पड़ेगा ना। 7,000 अगर एक मंथ का दोगे तो उसको भी तो क्योंकि फादर के लिए तो वो इनकम है ना, ऑल्दो ही शोइंग एज ए मैनेजर, बट उसके लिए तो इनकम है। या वही, यहाँ पे भी वही कॉन्सेप्ट आएगा, 87A रिबेट एंड ऑल। Yeah, yeah, correct. Yeah, I was only thinking that because if that is showing, if I am showing as the father as a manager, it means the income will become of the father. He has to separately file the income tax return. तो ये वो वाला कॉन्सेप्ट ना और आर्म्स लेंथ प्राइस में किया था, लॉस ऑफ माइंड इज द गेन ऑफ अदर सेट ऑफ। यहाँ पे सेट ऑफ नहीं होगा, इट इज नॉट आर्म लेंथ प्राइसिंग। if I will quote you something less, so you are again, I am the loser. So set off is zero, no profit, no loss. But here it is not the case. He has
Sir,
to
in many
separately find
cases,
the
sir,
business. Yeah,
in many cases, sir, I have seen that people actually use the company's card. They have purchased it, name of it in his mother. Then it is through their father they're using that card, that too on rent. So what happens with that 6 lakhs that you pay to your father? Out of that 6 lakh, your father hires a driver. Out of that 6 lakhs, your father pays for all the oil bills that you are getting, and your mother gets paid 20,000 rupees as a rent of the car. So now 20 into 12, it's not taxable. And what father was getting 6 lakhs, out of which he has paid 10,000 to the drivers and 5,000 as petrol and diesel prices. So
yeah.
again, he gets the exemption from that.
Yeah, here, yeah, that is right. Here, the current example which I am just stating is the father is just having, for example, every year he is earning 6 lakh, 50,000 per month as the salary. Okay, and he's not paying any tax because I explained you why there is no tax. Okay, so it means that over the 30 years or 40 years, he accumulated good corpus. Okay, so he can just send as a gift also, because we know according to section 56 of the IT, the gift by the father to the son is not taxable. So this is how the funds can also be channelized. Even that is already done with the purpose of saving the tax, right? But later on, according to this provision act, he can just transfer everything and he has not to pay any tax. So these things are also there. So it is all about that how they are just perceiving it. Different regulatory norms, income tax act, and um, so this is how the currently businesses are going on. You all are working in the corporate. You are all very familiar that how these expenses, revenues, and all huge by opening the bad banks, right? So, but then they think that the type one error in the banks is very higher. So, yeah. So Mitra made it try, but can somebody else? What is type one error for a banker and type two error? For example, I go to your, you are a bank, I go come to you, I submit my financial statement, and it is not good, but then also you lend me money. Is it type one? Type, well, accepting the false is type one.
Sir, yeah, just a try here. Sorry to cut you.
Yeah,
Uh,
Jagrat, I can't see you. Yeah, please on the video if possible.
okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
sure. Right.
because yeah, type one is more riskier than type two, huh? But type two is very leads to lesser profitability. So both are dangerous rather, particular for the banking context.
Uh,
Yeah, matlab you opportunity comes to you, but no, you not explore. For example, somebody comes to me, very strong financial background, but I did the wrong analysis and landed up with that decision. I will not finance you, but the creditability is very good. Due to my faulty analysis, I landed up with the decision of not financing. It is type two. Yeah, rejecting the true is type two. Accepting the false is type one. Yeah, so that's why this is I am saying when the magnitude of type one is more higher, we ended up with a case of bank scams.
So, sir, like consider like if I consider like giving an house building loan or something like that. So, if like the borrower needs to give to the institution different types of documents or like whatever it is. So, if they make some forgery or something like that, and they prove to the bank that they are whatever they are giving are genuine, but later on, like it happens also. I have seen like in my home also. My father was a ex banker, so I heard from him that later on after 4 5 years or something, if it comes out that okay, something that financial institution had made a mistake. So my question to you that even if it get come into picture later on in the date.
One here. Yeah.
स्लाइड नहीं दिख रहा.
Huh?
Slides.
Uh, so what we were just talking.
I the Videocon case.
Video ones. Yes, Priyam. Any views on the same?
Not much, sir.
Okay.
सर मैंने बोला था कि वो the transactions were legitimate transactions.
Yeah. Please, everyone else also please on the video. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Samad, please go ahead.
Sir, my view is that the transactions were legitimate transactions, but Chanda Kochar was a known person. She would have other issues, and that's why out of rivalry this was uchala gaya, because the loan was sanctioned by the credit committee.
Yeah, she
And,
was not the part or heading the committee in which
but she was heading the committee not as Chanda Kochar, as the CEO of the company. She would
yeah,
be वो तो फिर some relation or the other कहीं ना कहीं भाई भांजा कोई
no,
ना कोई तो
that I understood. Allegation was on her, but the purpose of discussing right now in the class that what was the wrong?
हाँ
Yeah,
तो मेरे
who
को लगता नहीं
stated
कि
that our
ट्रांजैक्शन
task is not I
वो
am not
आज
yet to
पैसा
join
लिया कल
CBI.
कल कहीं पे
Okay,
इन्वेस्ट किया.
yeah. What I am saying that we none of us have currently maybe I have not yet joined CBI, so our purpose is not to comment that who was wrong and who is right and go into that. Our purpose was to learn that how it is so easy to do such kind of fraud, which is around 3,000 crores, even when some are like this. What was wrong actually? How modus operandi kya tha? Yes, Somitra, Nilip. Yeah, Animesh back or not? Animesh joined us or not, Priyam?
सर फर्स्ट हाफ में तो था.
But he
अभी
not responded even if he. But purpose is not to like that. Purpose it will be good for us also to make something new from a new person. So this was the only purpose. But it's fine.
अभी तो दिख नहीं रहा है सर. हाँ.
Yeah, please communicate if after the class or somebody.
Sure.
Sometime else. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, we were talking about yes, Samarjit, your views on the video call. Because एक सिंपल सा फंडा है अगर मैं किसी if I am financing some major group to one of the party. Videocon is a bigger group, many other a company whose size is very small, but if any person is financing more than its actual worth, so it is itself a red flag. So in case of Videocon group, there is a like form under the Videocon group, if I am able to recall the name correctly, that Evans, right? Their sales are just around, I think, something around 68 crore something. But if you are just financing them 9 times or 10 times more than that, so what does this signify? It means you are doing something for your self-interest. So this was actually the case. I was expecting that many of you are already familiar. So this is also actually it happened. These are the just way red flags. How you can detect the same. Yeah. Other views on the same. Because that point actually emerges from the knowing something Jagran told us. So what kind of this? It is only everything for the self-interest. So whenever somebody is in party, they will definitely doing something at the cost of the minority shareholders, right? Even if I am talking about the private sector, they are no doubt they are a very good service provider. If you have to, if you will say that whether you get a good services from Canara Bank or SBI Bank or ICC or HDFC, obviously our answer is private sector banks only, right? But the point is this that what wrong they did because of which they huge allegations and all. So you have to just be just look into these angles also. Yeah.
So that is the reason I mentioned about the algorithmic decision making. If that was the case, then many of these problems would not have arisen.
No, ऐसा नहीं है because this is what I feel. The algorithm, Pratik, which have already in existence. No doubt there is always improvement every after every 1 hour in the models. What is algorithm? algorithm is simply that there is some set aside parameter, some set aside model in which if
Set
you
of rules.
remove the numbers of the firm to which you are lending the money, it will just show you what is the likelihood of this firm to be a manipulator, what is the likelihood of this firms to be a like a default in the near future. Altman Z score, Petrovsky F score, these all the Benisham score, Banford law. Okay, we all use these kind of metrics, and in some cases these matrices give good result. Or good result, matlab align with the actual prediction. Okay, but again, if you think that using the algorithm will reduce your error to a zero, it is not possible. Matlab chances are
No, but
still,
it will remove the human element of the error.
yeah,
Today,
that
Chanda
I,
Kochar is being prosecuted for a transaction where she may or may not have been involved. We don't know yet.
after
But
that later
tomorrow,
on, yeah.
tomorrow, if somebody else in a high position needs to make such a decision, he will think four times whether I should or whether I should not. So the decision making process will be retarded due to these kinds of developments. And if we have an automated way of decision making, then it won't be impacted by some of these past occurrences.
Okay, yeah. So as because I just want to at least talk some points on the algorithm, although we not get the opportunities to just discuss with you about the algorithm in detail because we have scarcity of the few 20 sessions only, and moreover, so but can somebody just give what if right now we are just talking about the financial numbers, sales, profit, this, that, uh, activity, liquidity, solvency, because we all come across, because we all are working in the corporate, we all are from the business person mind setup, so we all come across these terms very frequently on a regular basis. But the point is this, if you are saying that some algorithm, then algorithm, how it will emerge.
Through the best practices accumulated over the last several years, that if the loan is sanctioned based on these criteria, then the probability of
Again,
the
the
loan.
point is that yesterday Mr. Agarwal was also highlighting that there is no one formula. Each case is unique in itself. We will
Yes.
have to investigate from scratch every time every person come for and ask me for the financing of their project, right? So if I am develop some algorithm, then it's a usability will become very less now, because if I develop some algorithm, okay, I can't use it on everybody. Somebody come from different industry, somebody come from different industry. Then what is the use of these algorithms?
So this will be one of the final decision making criteria. Algorithm will have a very high weightage, that if my net operating profit over the last 5 years is above a certain threshold,
Okay.
and the amount of loan that I'm requesting is within a specified percentage of my net assets or net operating profit, then I can go in for the loan dispersal. So these kinds of rules that have been evolved over a period of time by the bankers within a particular company, these can be
Yeah,
codified and they can be
you,
used as an input.
yeah, okay, Pratik, just look at, I hope it is visible, right? Is it visible?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so this is how, for example, I just have to rate some company who come for me bank for the funding requirement. So according to this algorithm, I am just using the different 9 criteria, and I am dividing these 9 criteria into the three groups. The bank have already formulated this into an algorithm. So they are just checking into the three things: profitability, leverage, and operating efficiency, as we discussed. So under each of this, they have the different parameters. For example, if the ROE is current year, if it is positive, the company is given 1 as the number. So if the sum total of these is more than 5, or sum total of these is more than 6, so company will take, okay, this company is more reliable, so we can take the decision. So there are 9 parameters. So now just read it here. If the company that have the F score of 8 and 9 is relatively very stronger, but if some company gets the score of less than 2, it is weaker. It means the likelihood is relatively less. But my concern is always with these algorithms, how you can just compare the ROI of two firms who are from the different industry, because one industry is expected to have the higher ROE and other is expected to have the lower ROE due to the industry practices or the industry peculiarities. So that's, it means that algorithm need to be changed. Change it every time. Okay. Recently, in case of 2009, when the uh, Infosys allegation was put by the employees on the parade, so I think Montier C score is another, because I think that is also uh, these are algorithm, but concern with these that even if you will use it, it will not give any clear picture to you. Now here also see if you will see the company who is asking for the loan, their net income and cash flow is growing, you will give 1 point. If the receivables are going, it means their revenue is higher. Okay, the inventory is going. So accordingly, if you will give them, so you may ended up you will plot something like this. But again, the drawback with all these calculators or algorithms that they are industry specific. You can't use for it. So that's why the algorithm usage is a big question.
Sir, can I join the discussion?
Yes, can you?
Can I join the discussion?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah,
Sir,
Prateek is there.
sir, what
Prateek, it's your question. I think he's not here. Yeah, but it's fine. Yes, Amarjit, go ahead.
सर लेंडिंग में एक बहुत बड़ा चीज होता है टेकिंग अ कॉल बिकॉज देयर आर सब्जेक्टिव मैटर्स व्हिच द एंटायर टीम कम्स टुगेदर इट्स नॉट ऑलवेज ड्रिवन बाय ओनली नंबर्स देयर आर एन नंबर ऑफ एग्जांपल्स मैं आपको कलकत्ता का एक कंपनी का एग्जांपल देता हूं मैक्लॉयड रसल आप जानते ही होंगे शायद टीग में है दे आर वन ऑफ द लार्जेस्ट प्लांटेशन इन द वर्ल्ड खैतान ग्रुप का कंपनी है दे वर इन वेरी वेरी एक्सट्रीमली बैड शेप सबको ही मना कर दिया था लैंड करने से बिकॉज टेक्निकली इट वाज नॉट पॉसिबल ICICI Bank at that point in time had stepped in and ICICI had said that okay we will lend you and वो structured deal था अपना corporate finance में वो अपना ICICI Ventures को भी लाया और खुद से भी co-lending था उसका ICICI Ventures के साथ नया से structure किया and they took a board position and you won't believe they actually turned around McLeod Russell and आज का दिन में भी in fact like in couple of years back McLeod Russell अभी भी उसका complete company का salary accounts are still with ICICI Bank and some of the main relationships are with ICICI Bank. Though we from different other banks have offered them much better rate, but they just don't move because ICICI had stood by them at a time when no one was lending.
Okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
credit में सर ये बहुत बड़ा चीज हो जाता है कि what sort of a call you want to take.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Samarjit. Yes, Sumitra. So after the Sumitra's views, let everyone get ready because I am going to ask question to each one of you. One question from the previous discussion. I just want to know your retention power. Yeah. Yes, Sumitra. Yes. Something you are saying. You have to say something. Yeah, Sumitra. You have to unmute. Yeah. Class, am I audible?
Yeah, Prof,
Yes,
you're
sir.
audible.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Microphone is not working. Okay, fine. So, okay. Okay. So let's start with Nilip. Nilip is here. Nilip,
Yes,
you are
sir.
here. Okay.
Yes.
Just I give the financial statement of some company. You have to comment on the solvency. What you will check. If I will come to you and I ask you just check the solvency of this, bring all your thoughts into while analyzing. How it is possible? देखो क्या है अभी okay you it's good that you ask this question because after 2017 every firm whosoever take any asset on lease after 2017 any firm whosoever is taking any asset on lease they have to treat as a financial lease only. No firm is allowed in India now to use an operating lease. So can somebody explain what is the difference between, because this is what our tentative rationale I can expect for the zero debt on ACC limited balance sheet. This is what I expect. Uh, but before that, you should be clear with this leasing part. Can somebody explain a difference between the operating and financial lease? Very easy, common term, day to day, we used it. Yes, Jyoti Kumar, Nikhil,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jyoti or Nikhil? Yeah, anyone. Yes, Jyoti, I can't see you. Just make a try to answer how is the operating lease is different from financial lease. And if the government is taking this decision that every company will have to take every asset they take on lease as a financial lease only, no one is allowed now to record as an operating lease. How does it going to impact the numbers?
How the operating leverage is different from the financial leverage that you are asking, sir.
Leverage nahi bhaiya, lease.
Okay.
Jyoti, I am not saying operating leverage versus financial leverage. This is not a question. Question is how does operating lease is different from financial lease? Which kind of lease you classified as a operating lease and which kind of lease you classified as a financing lease? Okay. If you clear with it, then you can. Second question is why government after 2017 bring every lease as a financial lease only. There is no option of operating lease. Yeah, anyone?
Sir, operating lease is when you do not have the ownership rights. Uh,
Okay. You are
and
okay. You take some asset on lease, and only the rent or royalty you are
you are
paying.
paying rent for
Then
it.
only
Yes.
you can just show it as an expense. You are not allowed to record the assets in the books of accounts, right? This is what you are saying.
Yes.
Yeah, very correct, very correct. So what is financing? This is just reverse.
Yes.
Any asset which I will take, I will record on the balance sheet on the asset side
Yes.
as well as on the liability side also, because only then they are more. But I think I don't want to go bit into more accounting dual aspect. It will take some time, but as a
Yes, recording like an
the
operating
same.
list can provide tax benefits to an organization because they can record it as an expense.
All the right. Yeah,
So
correct.
that is also one
Yeah,
advantage.
very correct. Yeah, we can claim it as an expense. But after the government decision of treating every lease as a financial lease, it drastically impacts the debt equity. Drastically. Why? Because now you are showing debt as well as asset in the balance sheet. So as a result, the debt component goes up. When you will read one annual statement, you will after 2017 take any annual report randomly. You will see one asset right to use asset in the balance sheet. Right to use asset. Whatever the project you are taking, it's definitely come in the asset side. Malab, you at that time you may get confused. What is this new account? Right to use asset. That is actually a result of treating every operating lease as the financial lease. Because अब आपको चाहे वो asset आपका नहीं भी है, then also you will write and you will write it over the life period. For example, मैंने एक lease लिया 5 years का और every year I have to make 100 rupees lease payment. I'm just taking an example. Okay, I have taken a lease of asset on lease for 5 years. Okay, every year I have to make the payment lease payment of rupees 100. Okay, so if for example the inflation rate is just 10%, assume it. So according to the new rules, it I took as an operating lease only, but according to the new rules, I have to record it as a financial lease. So at what amount I will record this in my balance sheet, it is a question. It is a big question. So that's why on the very first day when you took the lease in the first year, you make one entry that is right to use asset to lease liability. But the point is this with which value? Is it making some sense? Because if you are interested and understanding it, only then there is a logic to go in depth and show its calculation. Otherwise, uh, uh, it's of no use. Are you getting what I am saying?
Yes, sir.
Because it might possible. Because usually what happens now operating leases are treated as a financial lease. For example, I take 5 year lease, okay, and the lease payment is 100. Okay, lease payment every year and time period is this, and I am assuming this inflation is this. Obviously, 5 years, you know that a present value annuity factor. So I think the 5 year 10% value is 3.79 something, right? So it means the present value of the future payments is equal to 100 I am making, and the present value is this. It means I will record the asset at this value. I will show you what I am doing. So if after 2017, after the adoption of the new accounting standards, because we have to follow the Ind AS. So according to the new accounting standards, every operating lease is now treated as a financial lease. So I am just taking an example. For example, some company has taken the 5 year lease, and every year their lease payment is rupees 100. And I am assuming that discount rate means inflation rate, because what is the value today, after 5 years value will be less. So according to the present value annuity factor, 5 years at 10% means the total today present value factor is 3.9. This is come from the present value table. Okay. So now the present value of the future payment, I have to make every time 100 rupees payment, and its annuity factor is this. So right to use asset account debited to lease liability with 379, right? So but you are making a payment of what? You are making a payment of 100 every year, because I told you lease payment is 100. So to bank means the outflow. So out of this 100, something you are paying as an interest and something you are paying as a lease liability. So you will bifurcate. So this is how the company's debt equity ratio goes up, because every company in the balance sheet, this is the balance sheet of company, this is the asset side, this is the liability side. So here you will record the debt as well as right to use asset. Okay. So if you will treat every lease as the financial lease, your debt equity ratio goes up. Why it is goes up? Because you are showing now the debt in the liability side. So before 2070, if your debt is 5 lakh, equity is for example 8. Okay. So this is some ratio. Now you are showing 2 lakh as a separate debt. Now it's become 7 over 8. So after this enactment, for example, 2 lakh is the debt you are showing. So after the enactment, it drastically impacts the debt equity ratio. So this was I'm trying to explain you that how does the adoption of the new accounting standard also impact this.
So, sir,
So
financial lease, it's recorded as a debt.
yeah, that's why what is financing lease? You will have to you can treat the asset as that you are the true owner. This is financial lease by meaning you have to treat the asset as you are the true owner. So if you are the true owner, it means that you are just recording as a debt, like because you have to repay for it, and you are showing as an asset also. That's why I use the term right to use asset. Just if you come across any annual report in the balance sheet, you will come across this asset nowadays after 2017, right to use asset. And at that time, many of us get confused that what is this asset is all about. That is all about the treating of the operating lease as the financial lease.
Prof, I have a question.
What? Yeah, please.
Sir, my question is regarding research expenses.
Which expenses? R&D expenses.
Is it capitalized or is it an operational expenses?
देखो R&D, देखो there are deferred revenue expenditure. There is term known as fictitious assets. I will tell you how it actually happen in accounting. So as Sumitra said, there is an expenditure of R&D. For example, you make 5 lakh rupees or 50 lakh rupees on R&D.
No.
Am I audible?
Yes, Prof. Yes.
So just example, please everyone look into this. What I am explaining, I just made in 2020 an R&D expenditure of this. If I will show this entire 50 lakh as an expense in the profit and loss account of this year, 2020 का profit and loss account में, if I will show as an expense of R&D of 50 lakh, it will drastically impact my net profit, right? उस साल का profit बहुत कम मिलेगा, right? If I will show this entire 50 lakh in the income statement of this year, so it means that net profit of this particular year will drastically impacted negatively. Agree?
Yes, Prof.
So that's why we write off this over the expected life. For example, if I am assuming it, this R&D is going to benefit me over the 10 years. So every year I will write 5 lakh. For example, this is 2020 और 2020 का एक balance sheet भी होगा. This is a profit and loss account. Okay, 5 lakh I am showing, and 95 lakh I am showing as a fictitious asset. Next year I will show fictitious asset of 90, and I will show expense of 5 lakh. So this is year 1, this is year 2, this is year 3, this is year 4, this is year 5. Okay, so this is the balance sheet. What I will do in the balance sheet. This is the
Fixed
income.
asset
So this is
45
like
होगा ना
the,
सर?
हाँ
50 का बैलेंस ना, 50 का
या
बैलेंस 50 से
50, okay, 45, sorry. Yeah, sorry. 50 lakh. Yeah. So 50 lakh is the R&D. I will write it over 10 years. So every year I will write 5 lakh in the income statement and 95 as a fictitious asset. Please, it is not a fixed asset, it is a fictitious asset. Okay. So next year I will write 5 where it will comes up to 40. Then I will write 5, then it become 35. Then it write 30, then it's 60. Then again I will write 50, it become 25. So 5, ultimately it comes 0. So this is how we are treating the R&D. Sumitra, is it clear?
But sir, Prof, do the companies have a choice of treating the entire expenditure on the
Yeah,
year?
in some expenses the liberty is under the accounting standard, but for particular things you are not allowed it for this. For some particular item that is allowed. I think for R&D expenditure it is allowed because it is a deferred revenue expenditure. For advertisement expenditure also it is allowed. Okay, advertisement, for example, you made the advertisement of for example 50 lakh. So this 50 lakh advertisement is going to benefit you in next 4 years. So you will have to write off this 50 lakh in 4 years. You have to write off like 1250 lakh in every year, and balance you will record as an deferred. Currently I showed on the board. Is it visible now? Because I think that 545.
yes sir, yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you. I was thinking that I forget to share, then how you
सर लेकिन ये बैलेंस शीट में जैसे फिक्टिशियस एसेट का नोट्स में रहेगा क्या डिस्क्रिप्शन पूरा?
no, इसको नोट्स में लिखने का जरूरत ही नहीं है, because you will have to show this on face of balance sheet. There is no concept of notes to account, because on the balance sheet of any company you will see three kinds of asset: fixed asset, current asset, and another category is the fictitious assets. Yes, Manik, is
सर तो
it
ये
clear?
मेकआउट कैसे करेंगे कि मार्केटिंग में किया है कि ये आर&डी में किया है?
वो थोड़ा सा explanation notes to account definitely, but it is nothing like an off balance sheet item. Fictitious asset में आप explanation दोगे उसका notes to account में, but it is nothing like an off balance sheet item.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, you will have to explain that whether it is an advertisement, whether it is R&D, or what is the nature of this. But you will have to record it in the balance sheet. Notes to account is there, but it is a fictitious assets. That's why we are calling it a fictitious. Because nowadays accounting is in a language of under the IFRS, where every country across world, every firm across world is using the same set of standards. So that's why the comparability of the financial statement is relatively easier. You can compare the Indian firm with German firm because both are using IFRS standards. So that is nowadays a common reporting language. But again, we are bit divert. That's why in India we call it as an IFRS convergence. Yeah, anything from this current discussion? Yes, Kirti is here because I called her name a few minutes ago. Kirti, you are here? Or she left?
Sir, what are the different type of expenses or comes under the fictitious as like promotional expenses and R&D expenses and what others?
Yes, Jyoti, what are you saying? I am not getting. Can you just repeat?
What are the different types of expenses or comes under the fictitious expenses like
Yeah,
R&D expenses, promotional expenses, marketing expenses,
yeah. I will
any
tell
other?
you. Yeah, there are two other expenses also. Anyone knows? Because the question he asked is very good. Anyone else who know what is it? What is his question? No one. So there is a expense which is known as pre-incorporation expenses. Expenses incurred before the company comes into existence. We call it as a preliminary expenses, right? For example, before registration, before company registered with the Companies Act, they will have to do many activities, right? So they will have to just hire the banker, they have to legal advisor, they will have to underwriter, right? Before registration, they have to prepare several documents. So company will have to incur so many expenses that are known as pre-incorporation expenses. So they will not write immediately after their operation, they will write it over the time period, pre-incorporation expenses. Because if I establish some company today and I have incurred some expenses, its benefit will be in many years to come. So that's why pre-incorporation or preliminary expenses is the another example of deferred revenue expenditure. Right? Is it fine? Uh, yeah. Who asked this question?
Yes, sir. Jyoti Kumar, sir.
Is it fine?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So can you think of any other example? One is R&D, okay. Other is advertisement. Other is preliminary. But nowadays, under the IPO world, new expenses are coming under the same category. You know what it is? Discount on issue of shares. Discount on issue of preference shares. You know, under this APG shipyard, they have subsidiary APJ Singapore something, right? So in the preference shares, this company invested the money in the preference shares of this company, which is a subsidiary of this only, APJ Shipyard, but their subsidiary is ABG Singapore. Okay, so they have invested in the preference share capital of this company. So ultimately, any kind of discount they are giving to their other company, that is known as discount on issue of shares. For example, if I have the face value is 100, okay, to any of my related party or any of my subsidiary or any of my other segment company, I am just selling it at 70. So there is a discount of 30, right? So this discount I will write off over the period of time. एक ही साल में इसको खत्म नहीं करें, because this is an expenditure. Value is 100, but I recover 70 only. 30 I give the discount. So this discount on issue of shares, if you bit go in the detail of APJ Shipyard, you will come across this case in the preference share capital. But you have to just read the case. What is this? So you will come across this expenditure also. So if you come across in the balance sheet of any company any kind of fictitious assets, it gave a red flag. Because it becomes a special item. Again, I am repeating, in the balance sheet of any company, if you look any fictitious asset, that is a special item. So you need to give more analysis to this item. What is the nature of this item? Because is it fine? Please say yes or no.
Yes, yes.
So this is how everything which we currently look in the corporate world, its reflection will definitely in one or in another way on the financial numbers, right? So either it is in the form of higher deferred revenue expenditure, or either it is because any item which is under the deferred expenditure category. Again, I am repeating, any expenditure which is under the deferred revenue expenditure, it itself give a red flag that something is suspicious. What is the nature of this item?
So we can assume that fictitious assets shouldn't be recorded in the balance sheets. Should be avoided using.
No. According to the rules, it should be in the balance sheet only. If it is justifiable, for example, if I just continue with the same example of APJ Shipyard, if 3 years ago the auditors will look that there is a higher magnitude of deferred revenue expenditure in terms of the preference share capital invested in the subsidiary of APJ Shipyard only in the Singapore, so itself give a red flag that why this item is particularly shown of significant amount, but no one look into the same. I am not saying that it is wrong to record. It should be recorded only in the balance sheet only as a fictitious asset. But any fictitious asset which is showing on the balance sheet fall under the category of special items. So special items need special attention of the auditors, right? So this is another angle which I am saying is to look into the uh, numbers. Yes, Dave, it is clear what I am saying.
Yeah, perfectly, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying every item in the balance sheet, you should be clear with each and every item recorded in the balance sheet. Why balance sheet particularly showing any number? Because if you linked it with the previous year's numbers, it depicts some story. Yeah, Sumit is here. Although I think in the last session he was there. I don't know currently. Sumit, you are here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, one question for you. Please on the video. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Question is like this: you will have to find out unexpected part of operating profit of any firm. देखो ऑपरेटिंग जैसे कि आपने कहा लाइक Samarjit was also saying that if somebody comes to me, okay, they will definitely portray historic data very good. When discussion was going between Pratik and Samarjit, his argument was like this. Okay, he will definitely portray good numbers. If they are portraying it because historic data they will portray is good, then how as a financer I will become to know whether this reported figure is manipulated or not, whether this is a true story or not. So I am not interested in the operating profit. I am interested in some other component of operating profit. What is that component? Yes, make a try. We discussed many times. I just only want to know myself whether you people retain the things or immediately you lost after this session. I am not interested in operating profit. I am interested in some component of operating profit. If what is that component and how as a financer I will get it. Very easy answer. Yes, but it's fine. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else in the class who know this know the answer of this question? Yes, Rahul, just make a try.
Is it EBIT, sir?
Which IT?
EBIT.
EBIT को ही operating profit बोलते हैं. It's the another name of operating profit is EBIT. Another name of operating profit is EBIT. Simple.
Yes, yes,
I
sir.
am saying that I am not interested in EBIT. I am not interested in operating profit. I am interested in something else. Because according to the argument given by many of you that it is already historic, everyone portray favorable only. And how I know whether it is good or not, whether reported figure is true depiction or not? I used one term unexpected level. Unexpected part of operating profit is of my interest. I am not interested in
Depreciation.
huh?
Depreciation.
What is
The operating
depreciation?
expenses.
I told few days back, I am not interested in operating profit. I am interested in the unexpected part of operating profit. I am not interested in net
Sir,
profit.
the cash flow from operations.
पता नहीं कहाँ कहाँ से तीन छोड़ते जा रहे हो. Try to.
Sir, it is the error term in the regression equation
Very
involving.
correct. That is actually an answer. Actually, people do it. Actually, financiers do it. I am not interested in operating profit. I am not interested in gross profit. I am not interested in net profit. I am not interested in EBIT margin because we know that classification shifting is in existence. Shifting practices सब लोग करते हैं. So I am interested in the unexpected part of operating profit.
So,
It's
do you
not.
need to check the operating income?
You are saying can we check operating income?
Yes, sir.
तो भैया आपने तो थोड़े दिन पहले बोला था कि लोग सेल्स को इन्फ्लेट करते हैं फेक कंपनीज खोल के, तो ऑपरेटिंग
हाँ.
प्रॉफिट तो बहुत ज्यादा दिखेगा ना.
ऑपरेटिंग इनकम कम दिखेगा ना सर?
ऑपरेटिंग इनकम कैसे दिखेगा? How you can say that operating income कम दिखेगा? Because people are doing manipulation, they are inflating the sales like anything. Okay, तो ऑपरेटिंग इनकम ज्यादा दिखना कंक्लूसिव प्रूफ नहीं है.
नहीं सर, अगर मैं सेल्स
जैसे मैंने
अगर इसमें
आपको एक
सेल्स
बताया
मैंने
था कि मेरे पास कुछ स्क्रैप पड़ा है, तो पीपल आर जस्ट सेलिंग द स्क्रैप एंड शोइंग इट एज एन सेल्स that this revenue is come from. For example, एक customer है, in order to fetch the new market I give more discount to them. Okay, but at the same time I have some scrap and I sell it and I am showing that this revenue comes from the sale and I am merging with it. So operating income is not again a true picture. सिंपल सा फंडा है आज के टाइम में, एज वी विटनेस एवरी डे मेनी न्यू थिंग्स. यहाँ पे फ्रॉड हो गया, ये हो गया. दैट्स व्हाई इवन नाउ डेज ऑल द फाइनेंसर्स आर नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन द फेस नंबर्स. What are face numbers? Sales, revenue, net income, operating income, EBIT, net profit, ROE. What is the relevance of these numbers? It's shaken the confidence of the investors. It's shaken the confidence of the financer. Okay, the reliability of the numbers reported in the financial statement drastically impacted when we every second day come across such kind of new scams. Are you with me? Are you getting what I am saying? If I know, are you getting? Yes, Chiranjit. Uh, your views on it?
Yes, sir.
So that's why I'm saying that how I can calculate the unexpected. Yes, Sai Krishna, I think, yeah, your views on it are also important. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah, Priyam. चलो अब मुझे लगता है बहुत ज्यादा पढ़ लिया हम लोगों ने. Let talk something else. So how the project is going on?
सर नॉन
Yeah, please go ahead.
सर नॉन ऑपरेटिंग इनकम अगर चेक करें तो
अच्छा, वो नॉन ऑपरेटिंग इनकम होता क्या है? What is non operating income?
सर एनी इनकम विच इज नॉट कमिंग फ्रॉम द मेन सोर्स ऑफ
For example, interest received, rent received, commission received,
यस सर
dividend received, right?
यस सर
So what inference you will get? अगर एक कंपनी का ज्यादा है तो मतलब कोई इन्फ्रेंस नहीं निकाल पा रहे ना आप. ज्यादा
सर ये इन्फ्लुएंस मिल सकता है कि सर ये इन्फ्लुएंस मिल सकता है कि नॉन ऑपरेटिंग ज्यादा है तो वो प्रॉफिट इन्फ्लेट कर रहे हैं.
कैसे है? ऐसे नहीं होगा.
आर्गुमेंट
प्रॉफिट तो ज्यादा दिखेगा. अगर किसी इफ एनी फर्म इज हैविंग द हायर नॉन ऑपरेटिंग रेवेन्यू देन प्रॉफिट विल डेफिनेटली गो डाउन.
राइट.
ईबीआईटी में तो सर नॉन ऑपरेटिंग इनकम भी तो इंक्लूडेड रहता है ना, जो ऑपरेटिंग
तो उसमें नहीं
प्रॉफिट में
होता
नहीं
है.
रहते हैं.
ईबीआईटी हैज नो 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 सेल्स माइनस ऑपरेटिंग एक्सपेंसेस ईबीआईटी वो तो बाद में आता है. Yeah, it's good. I think you I am getting what I am saying, but still sometimes when we not recall the things discussed in the class on the very same day, so retention definitely goes down. So it is very difficult to just ask the question which was discussed in the few sessions in the last sessions. So sometimes retention is become an issue. Yeah, anything else? Yeah, how the project is going? Yeah, so I think like group 4 have yet to decide. But what about others? Group 1, 2, and 3? Yeah. Yes, Rahul. How the project is going? What about others? Please, everyone interact. Only 2, 3 are active. Rest where goes? We have a class till 2 now. Still 30 minutes with us. I have to just cover 2 more topics for today. But I am just giving a break of 5 minutes. Yes, Sachin.
Sir, we are working on it, but we have not made much progress. We'll do it by the deadline, sir.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. When is the deadline?
Sir, next
Next
week, I
class
think
we
in
have
the
to.
last class.
Okay. Okay, so no, and no one has to say anything related to our previous discussion. Can we go ahead or anything to discuss?
Sir, can you provide some resource for understanding what are the latest guidelines under the IFRS scheme?
Yeah, sure. I have one document. I will just share with you after the today's session. Fine.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it just show that very interesting also that how does the adoption of the IFRS impacts the accounting mechanism in India. Well, what are the major changes that have been observed? One is lease, I have told you. Other also current liability, non-current liability. So many differences we can observe between the old standards and the new standards. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will need it from a standpoint where I am not really aware of the old standard as well. So I will need to understand it from a fresh perspective.
Okay, fine. Because accounting is the like language of the businesses where we just follow the set aside accounting standards. Okay. Earlier it was like every country have their different standard, like US gap, UK gap, Chinese gap, like German gap. Okay, uh, but when the globalization happened, there is a need arise to have the common business reporting language. This gives the birth to International Financial Reporting Standard (IFRS). So under
Yes.
these, the comparability becomes easy. Like so, if you can easily compare. But particularly if I'm talking about the Indian case. So in India, the problem is this: we have the different economic environment. So that's why we are not in a position to adopt the IFRS in its original form. So our Indian gap, which we were follow earlier, is merged with the IFRS. So that's why it is known as IFRS convergent or the converged form of IFRS, and it is commonly popularly known as INDES. I think this is fine with you, if even if you not read the previous one, but how the process goes over the last few years is clear to you. Is it so?
Yeah, because when I started exploring it, it's a very voluminous bulk
Yeah,
of
yeah,
information. So what I need is something that I can use to
yeah.
get started to explore what is new.
Yeah, but I think if you really want to explore this phenomena, that how does things get changed after the adoption, then you should have a basic understanding of recording the items in the books of accounts. So that will be more what particular standard is going to impact something. So have you ever earlier studied any accounting course? I
Yes,
think
yes.
financial
We
accounting
had
or
an
management.
accounting course. Yes.
Okay, then you will find it easy, because for the very beginners, if somebody is not from the commerce or finance background and they suddenly from engineering background and start reading the accounting numbers and looking at how the items are linked, then initially it becomes tricky. It happens.
So essentially, the objective is trying to circumvent the amount of voluminous data, trying to identify the key pointers,
Yeah,
key
I
changes
think
which have been.
in my system there is a one document where there is a very like bullet points. Okay, this is the change here, and I will share with the class. So let discuss with our next one. Few days back, I have shared with you this one valuation of Tata Motors Excel sheet. Is it with everyone? Few days back, I have just shared the Tata Motors valuation Excel sheet with you. Please say yes or no.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Only
Yes,
one
sir.
person is here.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
okay, so I am just
Yes, sir.
Yes, I got it, sir.
so I have shared one Excel sheet with you where I have just shared the income statement of Tata Motors balance sheet and cash flow. Few ratios are there. So I'm just taking you through the valuation part, although I have already shared the solved Excel with you, because sometimes if we start solving it, sometimes we skipped some of the point because it includes many formulas. So that's why I am just taking the data, and now I am just I will explain that how you can just value any share depend upon the free cash flow from firm. So before starting with this, let's quickly recall that what is free cash flow from fund and free cash flow to equity. So I have told you, if the firms is having debt component as well as equity component, so we are not making it a distinction. Then we are more interested in free cash flow to equity. Equity means that what is left after paying the debt amount to the debt holders. So in this question, I am going to use the free cash flow from firm, okay, where I am not making any segregation of the net debt, and I will show you that how we can just value the business dependent upon the discounted free cash flow from firm. So discounted free cash flow is a very important thing, because you are considering all the factors. Either it is related to sales growth, either it is related to EBIT margin growth, either it is related to R&D investment, either it is related to the working capital. So this is the beauty of this free cash flow, that it consider most of the angles which one must taken into consideration before valuing a business. I'm again repeating why discounted free cash flow is found to be more relevant method of valuing a business, because it consider all the important things, like how the firm is operating on the working capital, what is the working capital efficiency, okay, whether the firm's current assets are more than current liability, whether current liabilities are less than current asset, whatever. it consider the working capital, it consider the capital expenditure, additional investment. For example, if some company did the investment in 2021, it will definitely positively influence the profitability in the coming years. So that's why we are using this free cash flow method, because it consider all the growth rate, either sales growth rate, EBIT growth rate, either it is a R&D investment, either it is additional investment, either it is working capital, either it is capex or whatever. So before starting with this, can somebody just give me a rationale that why free cash flow is a better matrix? Before we actually start with solving this Tata Motors valuation example, the Excel sheet I have already shared. Can somebody just explain me how does free cash flow is a better matrix than other metrics? A major advantage of using the free cash flow to firm or equity is this, that it captures all the factors. It captures leverage, it captures investment in R&D, it captures your working capital efficiency, it captures your operational efficiency, it captures your operating profit year on year growth factor. So that's why the free cash flow is a better metric, because if you look into the formula, okay, which I have just explained you few days back, where I took you through the two approaches. Okay, I took you through the two approaches of calculating the free cash flow to firm. If you're able to recall it, I just take you through the EBIT approach, I take you through the net profit approach, and I showed you that how does we ended up with the same answer, but how does one approach is different from the another. So the beauty of this free cash flow is this: it consider all the main pillars. Liquidity it consider, efficiency it consider, profitability it consider, it consider, your R&D investment it consider. Okay, if you look into the formula. So let's start with the calculation of this Tata Motors. So we have this, if you look into the income statement or balance sheet, whatever, we have been given the information from 2012 and up to 2021. So approximately 10 years data is with us. Free cash flow data is also with us. Income statement data is also with us. We will have to just calculate. Is the Excel visible, right? Okay, fine. Thank you. So first of all, I will just take as an a revenue also. I have just considered the total revenue, right? So I have just in income statement B7 and B9. So it means I have just considered the other operating revenue as well as the total. So I have just in this question I consider the total part. But if you are not considering, you can consider either the revenue part, but it is written other operating income. If it is written other income, again I am repeating, if in the question it is written other income, then you need not to add this. But in this question it is written other operating income, means it is the income from the operating operations only. So that's why in order to reach at the total revenue, I am just adding both revenue from operations plus other operating income. So I just calculate this. After that, I just have the year on year growth. Simple, 2016 growth minus 2015 divided by the 2015 means how much percentage it has been increased. So if we look into the sales value of this Tata Motors, the percentage increase is 13%, then significant increase of 23%, then year on year 4%, then negative also, maybe it is a COVID impact or something in 2019, and then it is a negative, then it again after the economic booster it goes up. So we have calculated the year on year growth. After that, we know that in order to calculate the EBITDA margin, we have to deduct the operating expenses, right? Operating expenses means, now look at the formula, income statement. You have been given the operating expenses, but in this operating expenses, the depreciation value is already added. Okay, because the given operating expenses has the sum total of all this. So that's why in the valuation, I am taking the operating expenses, but I am excluding the depreciation. Why I am excluding the depreciation? Because I am calculating EBITDA margin, earning before interest, tax, and depreciation and amortization. So the given operating expenses in the income statement is already including the depreciation. So that's why you can see income statement B10 minus B30. It means that I am deducting this depreciation from the given operating expenses, because depreciation is the operating expense. Again, I am repeating, depreciation is operating expense. But in this question, I am more interested in calculating EBITDA margin. So I am separately record depreciation You can see downfall in the like B8. But from calculating the EBITDA margin, I am just not showing it. After calculating the EBITDA, which is just revenue minus operating expense, I get the EBITDA margin. And after that, again, the same thing, I have to calculate the percentage of this, right? Why I'm saying percentage? Because 12% of sales is the EBITDA margin, 12.9 is the percentage, 13%. So you can see that it increases year on year. So year on year growth in the EBITDA you can also consider. So everybody understood the difference between these two. Again, I am highlighting this because it is something important. Everyone clear with
Hello.
the difference between these two?
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. Any doubt?
This
Yep.
growth is for EBITDA, sir.
Yeah.
This growth percentage that you are calculating is on EBITDA amount.
Yeah, actually, there are two things. That's why I am repeating it. One is EBITDA margin, which is in percentage of sales. Okay. And next is year on year growth. Means how does the EBITDA from a previous year increase to this year? So it is a kind of trend analysis, right? I have told you there is a trend analysis where you will just see the plot that whether the EBITDA margin grows up or not and all. Because usually the depreciation is excluded from the EBITDA margin. So after that, if I will deduct the depreciation, I will end it up with what? Earning before interest and tax. And after that, I am just making the 30% as the tax rate. Okay, because every year the tax rate vary 16%, 23%, 23% and all. So I am just applying the same rate and I can calculate the EBITDA after tax. Because point is very simple. We start with the sales, we deduct the operating expenses. This operating expense does not include depreciation. So that's why when you deduct the operating expenses from the sales, you will get the EBITDA margin, EBITDA. After EBITDA, you have to deduct depreciation. You will get EBIT margin. After EBIT, you will get earning before interest and tax. Now you will have to deduct the tax. Why not deducting the interest? Can somebody explain why I not deduct that interest amount? Because I am interested in calculating the free cash flow to firm, not free cash flow to equity. Is it clear? Please say yes or no.
Yes, bro.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that's why I just deduct. Then most important part comes if you previous session able to recall after getting the NOPAT, net operating profit after tax or EBIT. Okay, it is another name only. Again, I am repeating. Don't get confused. If somewhere it is written NOPAT, net operating profit after tax or EBIT 1 minus T. So one and the same thing. So the most important part, if you able to recall our previous formula of free cash flow to firm, we started with EBIT, then we make some adjustment of depreciation, we make some adjustment of capital expenditure, and we make some adjustment of working capital. I hope you able to recall the things. If you will have to calculate
Yes.
free cash flow from firm from the operating profit or NOPAT, you may need to make some adjustment. The same I did. I just deduct the depreciation, abnormal loss, R&D expenditure, capex adjustment I did, and the working capital adjustment. Because you know that working capital is going to reduce any investment in working capital going to reduce your free cash flows. So accordingly, I put the same formula. Now look at the formula of free cash flow to firm. You get more clarity. If you click on the B21, which is showing the formula for free cash flow to firm, now it is exactly showing the same formula which I show you few days back uh, with the first approach, that is EBIT approach. So EBIT, you will have to deduct the losses, okay, any kind of abnormal loss. Then you will have to add the R&D because you negative adjustment. Then capex you will deduct, working capital investment you will deduct, right? So this is how we are calculating the free cash flow from firm by making some adjustment in the given figures. I'm again repeating because may many of you not able to get it in the first go. So what I am doing here by using the information from the income statement, because income statement information when we calculate when we download the data from any province database or the Bloomberg terminal, they give the information like this. For example, I extract this data from Bloomberg. Okay. So usually what happen when we extract, they give the very scattered kind of a data. Okay. There is no symmetry we usually found. So we need to prepare our own sheet to calculate the free cash flow. Okay. So that's why we are just making all the adjustment and we are calculating the free cash flow from the firm, and the formula is very similar. That's what we have discussed. So if you have any doubt in the free cash flow calculation, please let me know. Then we will proceed further. Yeah, anything, because free cash flow is just simply the formula. We start with
So
EBIT, we
yeah,
make the,
abnormal loss is in negatives and we are deducting it. So
yeah, that is negative. That ultimately it will get added only.
yes, sir.
Right? So obviously negative. That's why it is shown as in this. But calculation is shown in downstairs. You can just click on the same formula for the capex and all, because I am not showing these because these are very straightforward. You will have to bring these things from these three statements only. Income statement with you, balance sheet is with you, cash flow statement is with you. Okay. So now if we get the free
Sir,
cash flow,
don't we have to add back the depreciation because it is not an actual expenditure?
yeah, that's why I have only considered the EBIT margin. Usually, if it is a case of, I think I forget to add the depreciation if I am not wrong, right? Yeah, I also did the mistake. I think we have to add the depreciation back also. Yeah, correct. I think here we have to make some depreciation add. So yeah, very correct. You are saying here with the depreciation figure, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
very correct. I also just check it is something wrong. Yeah, correct now. Yeah, something is there. Yeah, now valuation also improves. Yeah, correct. Thank you. Because it is earlier, that's why I was thinking how it is possible. Earlier it is showing something 300 something. So it was a major mistake. Okay, thank you. So we have to add back the depreciation because it is a non-cash expenditure. And in the EBIT, we have already deducted it. Yeah, correct. So I think it is clear to everyone now why I deduct the depreciation from it. Yes, Sachin, Rahul.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Because yeah, depreciation was not deducted. Yeah. So I think now I have the free cash flow from 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and recent year which is closed is 2021, right? So by using the free cash flow of this year, I am anticipating or valuing the farm for the next year. That what will be the value of this farm in the next year. So this is my free cash flow, which is from for 2021. Okay. So the growth I am just anticipating because here I am just taking this figure because it is a fundamental growth rate. So fundamental growth rate means investment and all. So there are different formulas to calculate the fundamental growth rate, pure growth rate. So any growth rate you can take it. Okay. But currently, as we are particularly doing the case of Tata Motors, so looking into the industry peculiarities, I have calculated the fundamental growth rate here. So what is this fundamental growth rate? Here it is just a last symbol which calculated from here. If you look into, so this is the return on capital investment where you are just considering, okay, this is the few years and return on investment of this company grows year on year like this. So I just take the average of this. Okay, so this is just a way to calculate it only. So just sometime in the question it is directly given because we can get it from the industry average growth rate. Don't get confused that how does this 6.7, although the Excel is showing clearly, but for the sake of simplicity, if even if you will take the industry average growth rate, that can also be considered here as a growth rate. After that, the stable growth rate, if there is no impact of inflation, nominal interest rate and real interest rate, because if we exclude the impact of inflation, then we will usually see that it is 4%, like ignorance of it. Stable growth rate. WACC, you already know that how to calculate it. Cost of debt, weight of debt plus cost of equity into weight of equity. So now we have these information with us. Using these information, we are going to have the projected cash flow for the next 5 years. Okay. Even if we can just take it like this, I think I should make it. So now just look at here, you have the projected cash flow. Is the last year projected cash flow in 2021. Okay, in 2021, your free cash flow is this. Now this cash flow is grow at a growth rate of 6.6. So that's why I have added this as a growth rate. So if this year, okay, if 2021 the growth rate, the free cash flow is this, then how much it will be next year? So the previous year cash flow, it will grow at the rate of 1 plus growth rate. Similarly, for next year, 1 plus growth rate of the previous year free cash flow. For 2024, the previous year cash flow plus growth rate and all. Discount factor, we can simply calculate 1 plus R, 1 over 1 plus R. I think when we were doing the present value of net present value formula in the few session back, we understood that how to calculate this discount factor. Then you will calculate the present value. You have to just multiply the free cash flow with the discount factor. You will get the present value of the future cash flows. Again, I am repeating, till 2021, we can get the free cash flow value from the income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow. So now if I have the free cash flow figure of 2021 with me, I can use this figure and I can anticipate, forecast the free cash flow for the next 10 years, provided I have the growth rate with me. Okay. But few days back, I introduced one term, that is terminal value, because I can use the projected cash flow only up to few years. But up to 4 years, I can anticipate, 5 years, anticipate, 6 years, anticipate. After that, there is a terminal value. The value of the company at the end of projected period is known as terminal value. Again, I am repeating. So I can anticipate future cash flow only up to certain years. So that's why the value of the business at the end of the forecasted period is known as terminal value. So after the when the projected period turns over, so terminal value means now this company is into the perpetuity. This company will grow on an average growth rate which is over and above your cost. Okay, so at maybe at this time it confused you, but you will have to just recall our previous discussion on the terminal value. So after a certain period of time, we cannot use our projected cash flow method more accurately. So at that time, we are interested in calculating the terminal value. So that's why the present value of the equity depend upon the two things. How it is? It is one is about the present value of the future cash flows. Okay, this is one. Plus, there is another item that is present value of the future cash flows. Are you getting? Terminal value plus projected cash flows, sum total will become the value of the business. I'm again repeating, in order to know the value of any business, you will have to know the two things. First is present value of the future cash flows plus terminal value. Why terminal value is important? Because you cannot use the growth rate and calculate the projected cash flow for n number of years. Okay, because growth rate may get changed, macroeconomic factors get changed, so many latent variables will comes into the picture, because of which you cannot use the same growth rate. So that's why the value of any business is the sum total of two things. One is present value of the future cash flow plus terminal value. So after you deduct the debt value, you will turn up to be the equity value. If you will deduct the debt amount from the total value of the business, you will come up with the equity value. Now the number of shares is already with you. Now value is with you, number of shares are with you. You can easily calculate the value of one share, right? So it might possible, as we started for the first time today, it might confuse you. I may repeat the same in the next session. Okay, so the Excel sheet is already with you people. You can just have a one very quick look, that what how we have calculated the value of a share, and if you face any problem, we will just revise it again.